Good day, everyone. This is Mark Vello, and you're listening to Headline News. U.S. and Chinese warships close confrontation photos exposed. The recent tug-of-war between the U.S. and China in the South China Sea has been escalating. Photos released by the U.S. Navy show that U.S. forces were actually side by side with the Chinese Communist Party's Liaoning aircraft carrier during a cruise in the Philippine Sea off eastern Taiwan a few days ago. The photo was taken on April 4th, according to the U.S. Navy website. Captain Robert J. Briggs and Deputy Commander Richard D. Sly of the USS Mustin, an Airley Burke-class guided missile destroyer, were watching the water of the Chinese aircraft carrier, the Liaoning, just a few thousand feet away from their deck. The Liaoning No. 16 is clearly visible along the carrier's aircraft on the deck. The USS Mustin is part of the U.S. 7th Fleet's 15th Destroyer Battle Group and is home-ported at Yokosuka Naval Base, Japan. At around the 0000 hour on April 3rd, the USS Mustin left Yokosuka Port to head south, appeared off the mouth of the Yangtze River in the East China Sea, and then sailed south. And on April 4th, the Chinese aircraft carrier Liaoning and 5 frigates passed through the Miyako Strait and entered the western Pacific Ocean. Taiwan military expert Liu Lixi analyzed in a post on a social media platform that the U.S. military's actions showed that the U.S. side had detected the Liaoning formation's dynamics long ago and dispatched the USS Mustin to shadow it all the way through the Miyako waterway from the East China Sea and eastward into the Philippine Sea. In response to the USS Mustin's stop at the mouth of the Yangtze River, the CCP's official media published an article titled, "A U.S. warship is staying at the mouth of the Yangtze River. What does it want? What shall we do?" The article concluded that the U.S. military may have 3 purposes: to demonstrate to China, to test China's reaction, and to induce China to take action. Taiwan's former National Assembly representative Huang Pengxiao said that the presence of the Mustin in the Yangtze River waters has triggered an angry reaction from the CCP's official media, which has exposed the strategic weakness of the CCP. Because the Yangtze River estuary area is economically developed and has many important economic targets, once the two sides clash by force, it is like an elephant breaking into a porcelain store, which will certainly cause huge losses. Huang Pengxiao further analyzed that the most vulnerable parts of mainland China happen to be near the Yellow Sea, East China Sea, Taiwan Sea, and South China Sea. The United States is studying to deploy medium-range missiles forward to the first island chain. Once the deployment is completed, Beijing, Shanghai, Guangzhou, and Shenzhen, in fact, the entire east of the Hu-Huanyang line from Ahui in Huilangjiang to Tenchong in Yunnan province, will be exposed to the range of U.S. land-based intermediate-range missiles, thus creating a huge deterrent to the CCP. Swedish Foreign Minister: threatening journalists is unacceptable. Gui Chongyou, the Chinese ambassador to Sweden, has frequently sent messages attacking reports on China to journalists at several Swedish outlets. Most recently, a freelance reporter, George Olsen, was threatened again for his report on China's boycott of H&M, a Swedish clothing chain that refused to use Xinjiang cotton. Opposition parties in Sweden were calling for Gui's expulsion. Swedish Foreign Minister Ann Linde told the Swedish Expressen on April 10th that Ambassador Gui Chongyou's threat was unacceptable. However, she stopped short of expelling the ambassador. Linde said that it is unacceptable for the Chinese ambassador to threaten journalists. But for now, Sweden will not expel the ambassador, but wants to continue to keep the dialogue between the two sides open and urge the ambassador to respect Swedish law and freedom of expression. Sweden reportedly joined the EU countries in expelling a Russian diplomat from the country during the attempted poisoning of a former Russian double agent in the UK in 2018. In February 2020, opposition parties wanted the government to declare China's ambassador a persona non grata after a Chinese court sentenced Swedish citizen Gui Minhai to a decade behind bars. Trump endorses Senator Paul for re-election, calls him a true champion. Former President Trump recently said he fully supports the re-election of Kentucky Republican U.S. Senator Rand Paul and praised him as a true warrior for supporting America first, defending the Second Amendment, and courageously fighting the Washington swamp and the radical left. In a statement, Trump said, "Rand Paul has done a fantastic job for our country and for the incredible people of Kentucky. He fights against the swamp in Washington, the radical left liberals, and especially the destructive rhinos, of which there are far too many in Congress." Trump also said that Paul will continue supporting the America First policy, embracing the reduction of unnecessary spending, defending America's Second Amendment rights, and taking care of our military and our vets. Trump added that he is proud to partner with Paul in the fight to make America great again. "He has my complete and total endorsement for another term in the U.S. Senate," Trump said. "The Commonwealth of Kentucky has a true champion in Rand Paul." According to reports, Trump and Paul were once political rivals. In 2016, they were both candidates for the Republican Party's presidential nomination, when they clashed several times. But Paul has since become one of Trump's allies. In a speech to the Republican National Convention last August, Paul praised Trump's action to withdraw U.S. troops from Afghanistan and said he was proud of the Trump administration's accomplishments. He said, "Joe Biden will continue to spill our blood and treasure. President Trump will bring our heroes home." After attending the Republican convention, Paul was reportedly mobbed and attacked by a group of people. He tweeted, "Just got attacked by an angry mob of over 100, 1 block away from the White House. Thank you to the Washington, D.C. Police Department for literally saving our lives from a crazed mob." Earlier this year, the Democratic Party launched a second impeachment of President Trump, who had left the White House. Paul submitted a motion despite pressure, arguing that the impeachment of the former president was an unconstitutional act. In January 2021, 45 of the 50 Republican members of the Senate voted in favor of Paul's motion. In February, the U.S. Senate voted to acquit President Trump of any wrongdoing. This concludes today's broadcast. Thank you for your time, and stay tuned for the next headline news.